serious problems.
Mate, I think we should actually start this podcast a bit differently because there's just no serious problem now. It's what we've just witnessed again. I barely have any words for it. Like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, it was a bit wild. It was a bit wild.
I mean, like, he's just so much better. He, being Johannes Klabo, is just so much better in everything than anybody else.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was a bit like, I kind of knew it was going to happen, so I kind of prepared myself mentally for it.
Yeah. I knew it was going to happen too, but you watch the race unfold and you're just like, oh, is it actually going to happen? Will it actually happen? And then when it does, you're just like,
nah, yeah, Johannes Klabo, 6 golds. It's him and Michael Phelps. They're above 10, I think. But in Michael Phelps, is he got like 25 or something? 26?
Yeah, it's in the 20s. I think it's in the low 20s though.
I thought it was 25, but anyway, Klaebo needs to do a lot of catching up to. It's a bit unfair because, like, swimming, you've got like 15 different events you can win gold medals at.
But how many chances? Do they not have like 7 different events?
I don't know, but they have so many because they have like 50, 100, 200, 400, and then they have like freestyle, breaststroke, butterfly, and then they have combined is like, and then they have relays is like, they have so much events. It's crazy.
Yeah. That is very true. But back to cross-country skiing, we've just watched the 50K, the man's 50K race, and we actually hadn't planned on doing a debrief after today because usually we just do a debrief of every man's and women's race. But just like every now and then in life, you get to see things that you're probably never going to witness again, and then you just have to talk about them. I mean, last year after Trondheim, when he took 6 out of 6 golds, I think everybody in the skiing world was kind of like, oh yeah, this is like, we're never going to see this again. This is once in a lifetime. And then here we are, not even 365 days later, probably like 300, maybe 50 days later. And he's done it again, but then not at World Championships, but at the Olympics. And in my opinion, felt like he was even better than in Trondheim. He kind of just outclassed everybody. His last acceleration this year, I felt it was even better than previous years.
Yeah, no, it was a bit crazy, to be honest. But yeah, it is a bit easy on the Olympics though, because you have like over 2 weeks to do it, or like exactly 15 days. Whereas World Champs is only 10 days, so being able to win 6 gold medals in 10 days is harder than in 2 weeks. But still, it's the Olympics, you get added pressure, added media, added blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. But actually, I've got a question for you, Mika, because on one of the last podcasts, you said that we will never see anything like it from any other sport or person or sportsman. And it's never been seen before and it will never be seen again. But then lots of people in the comments were saying like, but what about Pogacar? What about like, Michael Phelps? What about these guys? What do you have to say to that then, mate?
No, if we're talking again, like, I think Michael Phelps, we'll just leave that guy stand there for himself. I mean, he is the most decorated athlete at the Olympics of all time. So yeah, Johannes still has a lot of catching up to do. But if you compare it to today's been a bit less good for 2 years. So he won the tour, twice, I think. Then he was a bit less for 2 years. And now he's like super good for 3 years again now. And it seems like he's the same as Klaebo, getting better and better still. But there's not really a but. It's a different sport. You can't really compare it. Obviously, I'm a Pogacar fan. I think the guy's insane. He's so good. And it just looks like he's playing. But at the same time, he does not win every big event because you have this guy, Mathieu van der Poel, running around. You have Wout van Aert running around to actually win quite a lot of races. I think if you look at the percentage of races attended compared to races won, you'll never witness anything to Johannes Klabo again, or will not. Like maybe in some sport, like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I think cross country skiing is so different than cycling. But
Yeah,
like a
true.
cross country sprint, it'd be interesting to have like a 100-meter sprint. But I think if you put, because like you can't really compare cycling sprints, even though Pogacar is really good at sprints. But if you put him against some of the best sprinters, he will struggle. And like, I think if you put Klaebo against the world's best sprinter on the 100 meters, I think he might still win. And if you put him on the 3-minute sprint, which is still endurance, we can say, he will easily win. So,
And
that's,
also,
I think, what's the most impressive for me is that he can win from like 3
you
minutes.
can even go further. You can
to 2
even go
hours.
further. I'm willing to say and to I'm actually willing to say that. I think if Johannes Klabo would prepare for the Vasaloppet, he'd also win the Vasaloppet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm quite sure.
But do you think if he didn't prepare for the Vasaloppet and did it, would he still win?
Let's say it like this. I'm not going to say that he wouldn't win.
He might actually just win.
He might
It would
actually,
be
if
fun.
he just hops in the plane to Sweden next week, he might actually just win the Vasaloppet.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So I think the sheer dominance that we're seeing when we're witnessing, when we're watching Johannes Klabo, that dominance, I think the only guy you can compare it to right now is when you look at cyclocross, Matthew van der Poel.
Yeah.
I feel that's comparable. And then it also brings on a different, raises not a different question, but a different spotlight. If you look at cycling, now you look at cyclocross, most of the cyclocross races are very similar to cross-country skiing. They have homologation thingies where tracks have to meet a certain standard, same as in cross-country skiing, like the meters of total incline you can have, there's a limit to it. It needs to have a minimum incline as well. Basically, if we race in Val di Fiemme, Trondheim, Falun, or Lahti, it doesn't really matter so much requirement-wise because the physical requirements pretty much stay the same. But then you look at cycling, and there's just so many different aspects to cycling. You have climbing, you have sprinting, you have like hilly terrain. And I think it's just more versatile. Like the whole sport is a bit more diverse in itself. And I think that if you'd get more diversity in terms of changing tracks, that's the only way to actually get more people to win races right now. For example, a finish. Imagine the finish today would have been on the highest point of the track. I think you would actually get a bit of a different, maybe not a different outcome, but a different energy in the race.
Yeah, maybe.
If you have a finish on top of a 2-minute climb, it's different than if you have a finish where you did a 40-second climb, then a downhill, and then a straight into the finish, which is everywhere in cross-country skiing. Like, name me one venue where we actually climbed to the finish.
Yeah.
There is none.
Alpe Cermis.
Yeah, Alpe Cermis. And how often has Johannes Klabo won Alpe Cermis?
Never, I think, right? Maybe he's won once, maybe?
Never. No. Oh, maybe in the pursuit race, but I actually don't think he might.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
ever since it's a mass start and time-wise, he's never been up there first. So I think the only way to actually create more or multiple winners in cross-country skiing right now is to just get the sport more diverse and not just, okay, now we ski here 20 or 25 or 30 kilometers instead of 20. But actually be like, you know what, we're actually going to change the course, and by that, change the whole energy of a race.
Nah, I kind of agree, yeah. That's true, like, yeah, there is a bit of variation in cross-country skiing, but not enough.
Very little.
Yeah, quite little, and yeah, I mean, I think one of the goal of the FIS to like kind of simplify the sport was to have like kind of the standard distances of like always kind of the same thing, like 20K mass start, 10K individual, and like make it simple. But at the same time, does it really matter? Like, does it really matter? Like, I think if you just look at it's like every race is so complicated. Like the shooting, like okay, when you miss a shot in biathlon, like sometimes you get an extra shot on relays. Sometimes you get a 40-second penalty on individual races. Sometimes you have to go around a short penalty loop. Sometimes you have to go around a big penalty loop. And biathlon is still super popular. So I don't know about, yeah, I kind of agree in the fact that maybe more variation, it doesn't make, even if it makes the sport a tiny bit more complicated, people don't care. It still make good watching, like things happen differently and like, but this was still like going back to the 50K, this was still kind of an exciting race for the top.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe top 3 was decided quite early on, but I thought it was kind of cool when you see just like Niang get like attacking straight from the gun. Like he had like a 10-second gap after like a kilometer, which is crazy. And then you see like all sorts of people blowing up, like Victor Lovera managing to keep up when everybody was getting dropped. I thought that was super exciting. And then suddenly you see him doing so good with Korstolev blowing up a bit, and then suddenly Victor blows up, and then feels good again, and then blows up again. And it was like kind of like quite exciting to see. Then Theo Chély randomly catches like a minute
We
and
didn't
a
even
half.
see that. Or I
Yeah.
didn't see it in the race. All of a sudden, we're watching the finish, and Theo Chély, I'm like, where's Korostelev?
Yeah, like the I was watching actually the French TV because BBC decided not to show it anymore, and then it was like the commentators were all beautiful 5th place from Theo Chély, and then they were like, "Wait, has anybody seen Korostolev?" And they're like, "Oh my god, he's 4th! Oh, he's calling him up!" And it was like so exciting, and then it was crazy. Like, and
But talking about
started.
Korostelev, something we've also seen today is the insane difference in skis. I mean, like, really poor guy, Korostelev. He was up there, he kept up with the Norwegians, and he just got dropped in every downhill 10 meters, 5 meters, 10 meters, 12 meters, caught back up, double poling in the uphills, ski striding with him up. But then, you know, Jimmy, when your skis are slower, not only are you slow in the downhills, but you also have to work harder all the time than the rest.
Yeah.
And so he just had to spend so much energy compensating his skis.
Yeah.
But it's a bit, then you're like, yeah, Norwegians, they're the best skiers. Johannes Klabo is the best skier to ever walk planet Earth. But at the same time, they do also have superior skis in 80% of championship races.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the 20 other percent, they still have okay skis. Like,
Yeah.
when does Norway fuck up skis? They have a system where it's always kind of safe.
Yeah.
So,
also, what do you have to say about Nienget's guessing game of not changing skis?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of. So I overheard a little bit the interview, but you can maybe give us a feedback on the.
Yeah, I was listening to the
for the
interview he
listeners.
gave on NRK, and so he felt that he was doing quite all right with the skis, and that the race would be harder on this if you just kept skiing on the same set of skis. So he definitely did not want the other people to change for a bit, to then eventually change very late when he was not gonna change, so that he could have like a surprise moment or a surprise attack. He felt that the harder the race would get, the bigger his chances of winning were, which I actually agree. And I
Yeah.
think actually, like, hats off to Martin Nienget. Like, he's tried everything. He went fast from the start. He went fast in the middle. Then he started going really fast at some point. And then both Ivo Niskanen and Harald Lusberg Amundsen were like, oh, this is really not for us today. And dropped out. You want to say anything to that particular moment?
No, I just thought it was a bit sad to see. Like, you could tell that Ivo Niskanen went to the front and tried to like push a bit the pace, but like you could see on his face that he wasn't
Yeah.
living the dream, and then just like the pace was just too much for him. I don't know if there's more to it. I know that
Yeah, he was ill.
Amundsen has been a bit sick as well, like a couple of weeks ago. So,
But the thing is, I heard an interview of Amundsen before the start, and then I felt like, oof, this is not his normal voice. I didn't feel like... So, we don't know. He didn't really say so much about it in the interview, but I do suspect that there might be a world in which Amundsen might be somewhat ill as well.
yeah, apparently, I think, was it on the relay or something? He was saying that he was definitely not 100%. And I think lots of people got sick in Italy. Like, yeah, it's like that, you know. When
What do you
everybody's
think
like,
when Einar Hedegaard gets ill? on a major championship and does not tell the team about it until after his races are done.
Yeah, not so much team player, but very cynical. But we don't know. Was he like staying away from people at least? And
I don't know. I just read on the internet that he gave an interview somewhere. Or actually, I saw an interview of him at NRK where he said, "Oh yeah, I was a bit ill, but I just
didn't turn
tried to
on.
not tell anybody."
But yeah, I wonder how the rest of the team feels about that, and I wonder why he would say it in an interview as well. It's like,
Oh, because I think if he would have said on forehand before the team sprint that he did not feel 100%, then you and I both know he would have been scraped and there would have been someone else
yeah,
substituting him. So I think he also knew that even though he's not on 100%, if he races the team sprint with Johannes, there's a good chance he might get a gold. And to be honest, can we blame the guy? Honestly, if I would have the chance to get a gold medal in the Olympics, I would take it.
yeah, for sure. But like, why does he say it in the media afterwards?
Yeah, that's maybe not so smart.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
this has nothing to do with the 50K. Where did we stop? Yeah, okay, Martin going really fast, then Harald and Ivo Niskanen drop in the race. I was a bit surprised, or not surprised, but yeah, I was a bit surprised that they actually managed to get a separation down to 4 people after 40 minutes or 45 minutes. I thought that was pretty, yeah, we haven't really seen anything similar the last years. Usually it takes much longer if there's a separation like that at all.
As we said, the Norwegians didn't switch skis. So in the 50K, you get like one chance to switch skis. So you can have a pair of skis that are like newly waxed.
And usually they always switch either halfway the race or maybe 2/3 into the race.
Yeah, so here on the 7-lap course, it's either after 3 or 4 laps, basically. Most people changed after 4 laps, I think, but the Norwegians didn't change. Do you think Iversen could have got a different color of medal if he had actually changed?
I was thinking about it, and now hear me out on this one. I think there might have been a world in which Martin Löfström Nienget would have gotten a different colored medal, and in fact the gold one, by changing. You know why? Because his strength is pushing really hard all the time, but the worse your skis get, the harder it becomes to actually push because you're wasting lots of energy on finding grip and yeah, stuff like that. Plus, then you get a guy that's just superior when it comes to technical skiing. That's Johannes Klabo. So I was thinking that maybe potentially, and this is very easy to say from a couch in Ramsau, but maybe potentially if they'd have changed skis, that Nienget would have been the one benefiting most of it because he could have used his good skis to actually try to break away.
Yeah, and like usually, the best athletes tend to have the best skis in the box, and use the second best skis first because they know they'll keep up. So then it's better to make the difference on the later laps. But yeah, that would have been quite interesting to see. Yeah, because then it would have been like he would have, because if you switch, you lose like maybe 20 seconds, 20, 30 seconds.
Maybe.
And so you give the other people that are in the front, they have to suddenly push the pace if they want you to not catch up. So it could have been interesting because then Klaebo and Iversen would have had to push the pace. And now that we've seen the result, we know that Iversen was probably on the limit. So with a bit more self-confidence from Martin Löfström Nienget, it could have been cool.
But at the end of the day, I think, especially when you... Okay, maybe actually just finish the race before we go on about that. So they did not change skis. Korostelev was trying really hard, but he had just inferior skis compared to the Norwegians. That's just what it is. And you just use so much more energy than the rest. So yeah, poor guy. But yeah, so they keep on pushing the pace. And when they went into the second last lap, then I was already feeling like, oh, I think this is going to go exactly Johannes' way. Yeah. And then when they went into the last lap, the 3 of them, then you just knew, okay, right, this is about it. And then you see Martin crossing the line in second after Klabo's. Yeah, I think they should actually rename the Zorzi climb. It should actually definitely be the Klaebo climb. But yeah, so you see Klaebo going away on a Tourtsy climb, winning. You see Martin coming in, and you just kind of see this acceptance in his face as well, where it's just like, silver medal is nice as well, and it's against the best skier of all time. So there's just, yeah, it doesn't really matter what you do, how you do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say impossible because nothing's impossible, but very close to impossible to beat that guy when he's having a good day.
For sure, for sure. What do we think about Andrew Musgrave being 6 again?
I mean, first of all, I think that's the best British individual result ever.
Yeah, well, he did it on the 10K already, but it's his second time.
I thought he was 8, so he was 6.
No, he was 6. So he's done it a second time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, super good performance. I was quite far back when Ian got started dropping everybody, so maybe that cost him a little bit of energy as well. He was overtaking lots of people. Could he have kept up with the leading group? Most likely not, if we're being completely honest. Maybe 6th place was best he could get.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's
super
like,
good. Very
super
like
good. But
really
a little
good.
bit heartbreaking when you know he's been like 10, 12, 13 times top 8 in championships. He's been like so many times top 8 and never got a medal. He's been 4th, he's been 5th, 6th, 8th.
Muzz is
7th.
like old wine, mate. He's getting better the more he ages.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, it was.
They're still following on the calendar next year, where we might very well see Andrew Musgrave.
Yeah, yeah. I think we might see Andrew Musgrave at the pub tonight, though.
I heard rumors that might be very accurate.
Yeah, he's always good at the party.
Fair enough. I would go on a party if I was them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far to the men's 50K. Anything else we missed? What were Kiko Pellegrino not starting? Come on.
Yeah.
He was ill. That was heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking because we know that he had targeted this race for the last, 8
4 years maybe?
4 years at least. Yeah. So that's a shame, but he got his 2 medals. So I think he's still quite satisfied from that.
He did do like this whole social media thing quite a while ago where it was telling everybody that the 50K was going to be his last race. You reckon it's... I haven't talked to Kiko, but actually is he going to finish the World Cup season or is this...
I was talking to someone about it, but I think he's definitely doing... I don't know if he's doing some more World Cups, but he's invited us on the podcast to his final race in the Aosta Valley
which we
March,
will attend.
so he's definitely racing there.
Yeah, but I think on a World Cup level, I haven't. We should actually try to find this out. But if and only if this or the team sprint was his last race on the highest level, I'm gonna state it right here. There's very, very, very few people in the last or ever in my life actually that have inspired me more than Kiko Pellegrino, and I'm gonna miss him so much on the World Cup.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, he's a tremendous athlete and has been at the top so many years, and I find it quite impressive that he's managed to so he was dominating skate sprints for some years.
Yeah.
But then he
prior to Johannes Klabo.
Exactly. But then he's managed to even though he was getting older and sprinting has changed a lot the last few years, he's managed to keep a super high level. And yeah, it's cool to see. And I remember when he first started following me on Instagram, and I was like, "Oh my god, I got followed by Kiko Pellegrino," and I was living the dream. So yeah, he's definitely been
First time he started following me on Instagram was 20, I think the Planitza year, the last race before World Championships in Toblach, and he caught me up, I think, and I was in my last lap. Went to the finish, and then in Toblach, for people not knowing the track in Toblach, there's this steep uphill bit, then there's a bit of a gradual uphill, and then after that there's this very long gradual downhill where you actually have to push really hard because that's where people actually lose most of their time. So we get to the top part there, and I think either I just caught up to him or he caught up to me. I don't remember exactly. Probably he caught up to me, and so I go into the downhill, and then I start talking, and then this guy behind me, this Italian, is like, "No, die," starting to shout at me that I had to push in the downhill. And so I started pushing really hard in the downhill. Had my best World Cup result so far that day, 20th. And then that evening, he sent me a message on Instagram just stating, die, die, die.
Legend.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, it's been a... Fuck, yeah, we're going to miss him. It's... I hope and I really don't know, but I hope we're going to get to see him for the remainder of the World Cup season. But I suspect that we might actually not. And so, a bit of a shame that he didn't get to have his, in that case, his farewell race. But who knows? Maybe he's reconsidered, and maybe he will be racing the rest of World Cup. And then we will make sure, and we have a lot of listeners from the US. If Kiko Pellegrino is going to be in the US, make sure that he's going to remember that race. Everybody out there on the track.
Yeah.
I think that's a good end to the podcast, Jimmy, or to this little debrief that was not really so much of a debrief, but rather us going on about how good Johannes Klabo is.
Yeah, I think we can do a little debrief tomorrow after the women's 50k then.
Yeah, we will.
Nice.
Good
Also,
times.
we need to give a shout out to all the love we've been getting on YouTube. We got a reel on YouTube that made 8 million views, which is fucking wild.
Insane.
So thanks for following, and remember to always give a little like, little subscribe, little comment, and
Yeah.
Love you
we
guys.
love our fans. You guys are the best.
Yeah.
Right. Like, subscribe. Your number one Nordic skiing podcast. Skiers Problems. Peace out.
Ciao, ciao.
Serious problems.